Think Tank is pleased to welcome Christian Kane, who is the founder of Toms River Field of Dreams. Good to see you, Christian.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
You have a fascinating story and a fascinating life, and you're making a huge difference. Your son, Gavin, is 8 years of age, and when he was 19 months old, what happened?
As I was waiting to make
We're actually looking at Gavin as you're talking.
Yeah, he's a great kid. As I was waiting to make a turn into my high school, a loaded beer truck ran through us. And
you're a teacher?
Yeah, at High School North in Toms River.
A beer truck?
A beer truck going out on its route. And when it was all said and done, it was a scene that I would never want any other parent to ever see. And Gavin suffered a traumatic brain injury, a right front temporal stroke, and basically, you know, he was breathless when I took him out of the car, when I was able to get him out of the car.
So the idea for this Field of Dreams comes from that experience?
Comes from that experience as Gavin started to get better. When doctors said, listen, you may need to find him a home. And we found him a home, which is ours. We decided to build a playground in our backyard. And then Gavin wanted to play with his other friends. And that's when the whole thing started, when we went to public playgrounds that were quote unquote all-inclusive.
Right.
We couldn't get him to go down the slide. We couldn't fit him onto swings. We couldn't get him to other places. And that's where this Field of Dreams then started.
You say what to yourself?
That this isn't fair. That
and your wife?
Yeah. And with my wife, I mean, on March of 2017, she went to an all-inclusive playground. Try to get Gavin on one of those big red swings. Oh, she's 100 pounds. He's 70. She couldn't get him on, and she was looking around. It was one of those beautiful days in March, and there were plenty of moms and dads around with their kids running around. She was looking for help. Parents would look up from their phones, stare at her, and put her head back down.
Nobody helped?
Nobody helped. And that's where it started. When she came home and she said, listen, I know you want to build this baseball field for special needs leagues, but it's got to be more than that. It's got to be a place where people who are like Gavin, they need to be able to feel typical, and they don't need to be stared at, and they need to be able to have the same kind of fun that every other child can enjoy. But then it grew.
Sure, let's do this. I want you to actually describe what we're looking at, if we could. Okay. Now, what is that?
Now, that's the state-of-the-art playground. That's a playground not only for children, but it's also for a grandmother who suffered a stroke, who used to take care of her 3 grandchildren, but now she's not grandma anymore because they can't go to her house because she's in a wheelchair and she can't move around. Well, guess what? Grandma now can go down a slide, you know, in her wheelchair. Grandma can now play the way she used to play.
Totally inclusive.
Totally inclusive. Grandma can go down the zip line. You know, kids who are typical in high school can now get 50 hours of community service to come to the complex for this thing to live and breathe.
Keep talking. Take a look at that one.
That's still, now, once again, the other side. Is that a different
angle?
Yeah, it's just a different angle. On the right-hand side, it's a zip line. Every different type of swing that you could imagine for a person with a special need of any type of age. Same thing, that's double-wide playground set, so 2 people in wheelchairs can go down. If you have volunteers, a person can go up to their wheelchair, get out of their wheelchair, go down a slide, and a volunteer through a pulley system, get their wheelchair back down. And now they're not being stared at. They can just have as much fun as everyone else. And that's how this thing then started to grow.
You know, you're an educator, right?
Yes.
And you and I were talking before about the challenges of raising money. And the folks at Investors told us about this.
Yes.
They're involved.
Yes.
RWJ Barnabas Health.
Yes.
A big supporter of public broadcasting. They're involved. But you also talked about Jersey Mike's.
Yes.
I actually, if I'm not mistaken, we actually interviewed the CEO of Jersey Mike's one time.
Peter Cancro.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Did you know him?
No.
Well, how'd you get him to fund this?
So this is, as a teacher, I'm always thinking of how to be, you know, that different teacher. How do you get kids motivated? So
how to be an innovator.
Yeah. And with this one was simple. Found out where his headquarters were, which is in Manasquan, New Jersey. I live in Toms River. As I was investigating about Jersey Mike's, I Googled his picture, read his story. I actually drive to his main office.
You stalked him.
I did. Because I need $2.2 million, Steve. It's as simple as that. I need to build this.
This is 3-acre complex.
Yes.
So you need $2.2 million. You've got to get this done.
I raised 1.9 in over 2 years just by knocking on doors.
So what happens when you see the CEO of Jersey Mike's?
I find him and I said, listen, I need your attention for 5 minutes. He says, go ahead. I tell him my life story just like I'm telling you my life story. He's heading over to California. Now, this is on a Thursday. He's headed over to California. He says, let me think about it. I'll give you a text on Sunday when I take the red eye back. I said, great. somewhere around 11:30 at night on Sunday, hey, it's Peter, I'm in, 50,000, great, thank you.
Oh my God.
And that's but that's the hard
How
part.
gratifying.
Phenomenal. But it won't be gratifying enough until I open the gates in October of this
So
this year.
October of 19 is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
We're taping this in the spring of 19. It's going to happen
Yeah.
in the fall
Yeah.
of 19.
Yeah,
What's going to happen there? Tell folks what's going to look like.
Here we go. You walk in, there's bocce courts and basketball courts. So if you're in a wheelchair, you can play with typical people. As you move along, you can play in the playground, where every type of equipment, if you're in a wheelchair, you can be able to accessorize any of the rides. As you are walking around the walking path, there are different fitness stations along the ride so that you can rehabilitate your knee or your hip or your whatever replacement that you got. As you move on, there's a snack shack. In the snack shack, there's two, you ready for this? Two special needs bathrooms.
Wow.
The Yankees don't have it, the Mets don't have it, Citi Field, no one has it.
You're
You know
gonna
why?
have it.
When we have it, when you are a caretaker, you can bring your loved one into a special needs bathroom. There'll be a lift there, and they can basically adjust so that you can get changed. If I go to a bathroom at Yankee Stadium, I have to put Gavin on the floor. How does a place like Yankee Stadium not have bathrooms like a mom and pop little place like I do have?
Before I let you out of here, 30 seconds. Should this be a national model, and what would it take?
It's going to be a national model. I'm working with Game Time, and Game Time's a national playground equipment company. They want this thing built yesterday. The reason why is once this thing's built, you're going to have people coming to Toms River, not because we won a Little League World Series. It's because now we have the most inclusive special need complex for anybody of any age,
In
of
the
any
country?
disability in the country. There are playgrounds like this. There are complexes similar to this, but there isn't one that lives and breathes and does everything for anyone of any age.
Christian Kane. Everyone may know the expression "Field of Dreams" with Kevin Costner.
Oh, yeah.
This may be a much more significant Field of Dreams in Toms River. We thank you.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
wish you
it,
all the
Steve.
best.
Thank you.
This is Think Tank. I'm Steve Adubato. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 30 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been provided by Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Investors Bank, RWJ Barnabas Health, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, founded by the Jewish community, United Airlines, the Fidelco Group, and by the New Jersey Office of the Insurance Fraud Prosecutor, Office of the Attorney General. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.